little while. But before that, I am joined in studio with a very wonderful panel, and I would like to introduce them so that we can talk about something that is called life. Life issues. How can you start off your year on a high note? How can you build yourself? How can you mentor yourself? And how can you set the right New Year resolutions? Because every year we have things that we plan. You plan something in 2018 that you wanted to accomplish during the whole year, but you've not managed to do so. How can you set up the right strategies and the right goals towards your life and towards 2019, so that by the end of next year, you can be able to sustain yourself and say that, heck, I did the right thing. Right now, I'm joined by, towards my left, that is Paul-Peter Otieno. He is a corporate trainer, a speaker, and a team building facilitator. Towards my father's left is Pastor Julius Gitari. He is a counseling psychologist, a mentor, and also a tent maker, right here in studio. And if at all you would notice that there is an empty chair towards my father's left. And that empty chair, I reserved it for my colleague Jane. So Jane, I think I would like you to cross over to this side, because I think we need to be mentored together.
Mentorship any day, any time. You never turn down a mentorship opportunity.
Yes.
All right.
Exactly. So as you cross over, Jane, I would like you to maybe give us a few tips as she comes over. How can someone manage to set up the right goals as we cross over to 2019? Let me start with you.
Thank you very much, Ram, for invitation to the studio, and for the opportunity to do what I love most, that is sharing knowledge and ideas.
You're welcome.
Now, at first you started by talking about resolution, which is a term I stopped using a few years ago, because it really doesn't apply. I tried that many years, and a few weeks down the line, I would always forget them.
Why?
I wouldn't remember what were the resolutions. And then somebody told me that the litany of resolutions does not apply. Now, that caught my attention. The idea behind resolution, I think it's too hyped. For somebody who wants to become someone, you want to make a difference in your life, one of the things you need to start with is a goal. You need to know what you want. You don't start by just making resolutions. No, be clear. Always, I start by telling people, you want to be, if there is anything else, if you are going to forget about anything else I'm going to say after this, just remember to know exactly what you want. You see, every year, a day like today, 31st, by midnight, you see people celebrating with fireworks, with lots of noise. And I've heard even people saying prayers that year was very terrible. That year was really bad. And I hope this year is going to be better. Things don't just get better. You don't wake up and just for the mere change of date, that something is going to be better. It's not like that. Even God himself doesn't want to work like that. We must make a decision that we are going to change our lives. And that only happens when we change. When we choose to become better. When we set goals, we set our minds on a particular goal or a particular price we are going for. Else, everything else is null and void.
I see you've mentioned a couple of things there, and you said you don't want to use the word resolution.
Yeah.
And Jane, you've just joined us here, and I don't know. Maybe I'll give you the chance. You can ask him a question, or the pastor here. But there's one thing that I would like also to ask. The term resolution. Do you find it something that is there a problem?
I think it's one of those terms that are misused.
Misused?
Yes.
Okay.
One of those terms that are misused, because just as you said, resolutions come and go. People say, New Year resolutions, this, and this. They even write them down to some extent. But by the time the year comes to an end, what have you, accomplished throughout the year? Did you even check to see if you are, making any progress? So just like as you said, goals are more, focus-oriented. You can even have a tangible goal. Am I right?
Okay.
You see, one of the things that happen is our system is so organized in a way that goals are always set for us. We start by going to school, and they tell us your exams are going to begin at this time. Pass mark is this, whatever. So everything is set. You pass this level, you go to the next level. But what happens is, the moment we get out of that system, nobody sets for us goals. And so we live a goal-less life.
Wow.
That's the beginning of tragedy. By the end of the day, you realize that we're just waking up, going to work, and nothing much. And there is no enthusiasm. So we've got to learn, first and foremost, how to set goals.
Engage with us on our social media platforms. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. On Twitter, at KBC Television, at Jane Wambui, and at Ram Aguko. What do you think? Give us your questions and your opinions. Let me engage you, Pastor, and find out, do you agree with what he has said?
Well, I partly agree with my colleague.
And partly disagree.
And I want to
Very
give
much
some
allowed.
intro
Yeah.
inputs, because restoration is derived from the term
Resolve.
or resolute. So restoration so when talk about restoration is from the word resolve. And this is supposed to be built on the, like now, many of us last year, 2018, we had the purpose, we had been the resolution that if God grant me the grace and favor to see that the first of the year, as I make my personal resolutions, I will have accomplished 2 and 3. So, partly, I agree with what my brother is saying. And also, partly, I would like to say that at least when we talk about restoration, it is supposed to be based on analysis of our strength, the weaknesses that we have, the opportunities allowed us, the threats, and also we come up now with the strategies. Strategies are the one now which are going now to be geared towards helping us to come up with the smarter goals that we are supposed now to abide by. But again, for the goals to be realized, we must also come up with the mechanisms of monitoring and evaluating, because goals are not again set on a lock.
Yeah.
They are not engraved on a rock. They are
not casted on
changeable.
stone.
When you realize that there is you are not going on the right direction, probably the goals that you have set were unrealistic, and therefore come back again to yourself.
And that just brings me to the whole issue of now mentorship. You find that the youth are out there, mentors are available, but you find that they're saying, oh, I don't have a mentor, I don't know who to go to. So they set some unrealistic goals in a certain time frame that doesn't seem possible. And when these things don't happen, they end up being disappointed, leading to depression, leading to other, activities that are not so productive.
No, correct. I'll say that mentors are there. Because nobody is living in an island. Through the media that we are having, there are so many mentors, people like you can be able to emulate. Mentors do not be generally somebody within your environment. A mentor can be somebody may far away from you. And you as a mentee, you must also again come up with a resolve. You must come up with a resolution in your heart that at least I would like to emulate these qualities. And in emulating, we are not taking also everything wholesomely, because now that will make us now to become also fanatics. So as we also come up with the mentorship, with the issue to do with the mentorship, there are qualities that we have to really embrace. Other qualities, we discard them, because not everything, just like the same way the word of God is that not everything is profitable, although everything is permissible, but not everything is profitable. So we have also to save. And that's why I believe God has given us now the brains to think and to be able now to chart the right direction. And because we are more evolved beings than the animals, then we also need to have a direction. Yes, that's what I believe in.
Just to add on to that?
A few things I've learned in life. One is the word realistic is a relative factor. So that's one thing.
It's relative.
I always
to every individual.
One thing I learned is know what you want and keep it to yourself. Why? The world is full of naysayers and what you can't do. And what is possible for you, or what is realistic for you, may not be realistic for me. And so I use my benchmark to gauge you and to tell you that you cannot do. Try to do this. Try to do this. I've seen this throughout my life. Myself, the imagination that I would even reach university level was not practical to many people. Even to date, some people still don't believe, how did you do it? Why? Because it was not imaginable. Nobody ever did it in our school. I was hardly in school for less than 2 years in the whole 4 years. So I've known one thing. the word, well, people talk about SMART goals. That R is a relative factor. The most important word, the letter there is S, which they call specific. Let me tell you, it works. It works like magic.
It worked for you?
It works for me, and I've tested it over and over with many other people. It works.
Yeah.
Just test. Just ask yourself, if I may ask you, one, the school, maybe the secondary school you went to, is either the school you wanted most or it's the school you hated most. True or false?
None of the above.
You'll realize it was in your mind.
Yeah.
It was occupying a center of your mind. That's the way life works.
It was somewhere.
Yes,
Somewhere
it's
there.
always in your mind. Most of your thinking, you either tried not to gauge much in it, or you engaged much in it.
I would like
that
to
means that there is a way it occupied your thoughts. You see, like giving you the biblical example.
Yes, sir.
David was going to fight Goliath. It was unrealistic to everybody else except to him. Yeah, including his elder brothers, including Saul and many other people. That's the way life is gay. And God says we perish due to lack of knowledge. And that's why he gives us that opportunity, as you're saying, to think, to learn, and to be able to tap into that. You wanted to ask that?
Yeah, okay. You've said quite interesting things there, and it makes me want to find out, regardless of whatever dream someone has.
Yeah.
People have desires. For example, they said that in 2018, I had not managed to do this. But in 2019, I would like to do it.
Yeah.
You have a desire, but at the same time, you don't know now, whom do I share this dream that I have with?
Good.
Is it okay if I share my dream with someone and get the support that I need?
Great. That's where, thank you. That's where you need mentors and such like people. Now, the choice of a mentor is something that is very critical.
But at some
You see-
point, you had said that
Yes.
don't share it with
Yes,
people.
no, keep it to yourself. That's what I mean. You see, I've learned that most of the people, including your very parents, will discourage you. My own mother told me, "You'll never go to school." You see?
Oh, wow.
So I've learned that most of the times, some of your dreams may be crazy, but they are very realistic to you. And as long as they are realistic to you, gauge whom you are going to share it with. You'll realize that there are very few people. Most of the times, in order to protect yourself, in order to protect your mind from pollution, you may want to keep it to yourself.
I would like you to
Otherwise,
I would like you to really and I don't know if you agree with this, Pastor. How do you distinguish, or where is the line between keeping your dreams to yourself and sharing it with the people who can help you achieve your dreams?
a good question. Not now. This is another technical bit. Not everyone who seems to be in a position to help you will help you. One of the biggest disappointments you'll get. Disappointment is a topic number 4 in my book. One of the biggest disappointments you will get are those ones you expected most.
Yeah.
My uncle will support me in this. My brother will support me in this. It never works. Now, one thing I learned, some of the people who may buy into your thinking and help you, you will be able to identify them over time because you've worked with them even in identifying what you want to achieve. For example, in my business life, I only have one person that I've
Just hold the mic closer.
that I've shared with most of the times. And I realized that to many people, anything you say, you see, our environment is very toxic and negative. Tell them something you want to achieve in this year, then they tell you, how old are you? Yeah.
All the business
If you really wanted to achieve that, you ought to have achieved it. That would happen. Yeah. If Alibaba guy, this Jack Ma, told people that he's going to be a success, nobody would have believed. You know, a series of failures he had to go through many times, and most of us are judged by our history. You see, so. This term realistic, I always have a problem just trying to help people. And I tell them, you see, if it is realistic to you does not mean it's going to be realistic to me. So if you find that is realistic to you, and this is what mentors need to tell people, if it is realistic to you, go ye do it. Now, some people, most of the times, you want to find mentors who've walked that path. But you see, the people we pick as our mentors are people who are close to us. Yeah? For example, I feel like my uncle will be able to help me in this. But my uncle, that's not his domain. His domain is a different one. So if I want to be a doctor and I have a big uncle who is a successful doctor, that would be good. Otherwise, I would really just be able to keep most of the things to
yourself.
myself.
Now, Pastor, that now brings us to the whole aspect of how do you choose a mentor, the whole psychological and mental process that goes into, trying to figure out this is the mentor that I need, not the one that I may want, but this is the person that I need to help me, mold me, redirect me, regardless of whether, I like them or not, more of what I need than what I want.
Now, this takes us back now to what we began with about resolutions. See, Mary, the mother of Jesus, there are some things she had heard from the angel that she kept in her heart. Similarly, Elizabeth. So as we look for the mentors, and I agree with my brother here, whatever he's saying, that there's some information in the public domain that we can share. But we are, again, also, as we listen to whatever people are saying, we must listen with our mind, but also hear with our heart. And
interesting point there. Listen with your mind.
But
hear with your
heart. And I believe whatever you hear with your heart, it will be the actual prompting. So we approach the world not the way the world is, but the way the world appears to us. And therefore, I come back now to his point on realistic. That whatever you are calling realistic might be very, 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 very subjective. And the subjectivity, it is only right to the individual, but objectively it is not right. So I concur with him on that point. But now looking for the mentor, before you look for the mentor, you must also have an agenda. Because what are you bringing at the table? So we must also come up with a strategy, some goals that we want to achieve. But now the how to achieve them now become a challenge. That's why now we need now a mentor to come on board, because you must always be doing something. You cannot be an $9 and expect that by the end of the first quarter of the year, I'll have reached here. So you must be having something at hand that is tangible, that you are working on, and therefore, wherever you are feeling that there are some blocks, then there's a point now you need now a mentor or somebody who can be able to prepare you to the next step. And like he has said, if there are some voices allowed us, even the voices of our parents, which are not very present, they are very, very, very discouraging.
Very ready to whisper negative
things.
And
these are some of the voices that sometimes also make a very, very bright student to fail an exam. You're in the exam room, and before you put something, you are hearing that your father telling you that I'm going to smash you.
Yes.
If you don't pass this one, that is end of you. So there are many voices, negative voices, discouraging voices that sometimes also now imprison us. So you have to be very keen to sometimes block some of the voices that we are hearing around us, which are not constructive, which are not adding value to us, because I believe the essence of life is value addition. And so the mentors must be people who can be able to add value to us. The mentors must be people who can be able to give us chance, because people grow because they've been given a chance.
Yeah, those opportunities actually presented to them.
Because until I give you a chance, I might be thinking that you are underhead. You need to be given a chance to be able now to try something. Then the mentor should be somebody who can always encourage somebody. The mentor should be somebody who can be able now to also even lambast you or caution you when you're not following the instruction to the letter. This must be somebody who is a good steward in terms of being there for you. A mentor must be there for you, and somebody who is available to be inconvenienced by you. Because who said that there is as I mentor you, you always be available for me the time we agree to be meeting. So I also need to be ready that I can be discouraged, that me as a mentor, you can discourage me. The mentor must be somebody who is also ready to be rejected initially, because relationship are built over time. So it's somebody who has also to have that resilience, that there is
that
even
strong
though
will.
Yes, that willpower must be there for for somebody to be a mentor. And he or she must also be a role model, because now, what are you mentoring me? You as my mentee. What am I mentoring you on? And do I have some virtues or some qualities that can be emulated?
Your life should be a living example.
Exactly. That's very, 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 very important. So those are some of the aspects that we need to consider as we search for a mentor who is supposed to take us through the journey and success of life, so that we can be able to be certain, secure, and fulfilled in life.
Now, okay, before you come in, there is something that you've mentioned there during the journey of getting a mentor.
Yes.
Now, I was reading a certain book, and I got that everyone is born a genius.
True.
Yeah, but the reason why we don't all accomplish our dreams, why the genius in all of us is not seen by the time we are, for example, in campus, is that we spent most of our lives hearing the answer no, being told it's impossible, being told you cannot make it. So I would like to find out from you, Pastor, when a child is growing up, or someone who's coming up, a youth, most of your time, you're told, no, you cannot do it.
Correct.
You can never make it.
Yes.
Even I personally, when I was in high school, I was told you will never amount to anything. How can you live up far above that? How can you be able to achieve what you want, regardless of being rejected? Because at some point, we have had many dreams being lost to the wind because they were discouraged at some point, even by parents.
Thank you. Rama?
Yes.
Ram.
Rama. Oh,
Yes.
that's a good one.
Yes. Now, thank you for that question. Very wonderful question, very important. Now, allow me to go back a bit to parenting and focus on the child development. The ministry of don't begin from age 3 up to infinite, because there's no room again for now do. From the period of 3 years, when now the child starts now becoming explorative and very active, touching items here and there, try this, climbing on tables, we begin the ministry of don't. Don't touch this, don't do this.
The ministry.
Yes.
I like that.
It's called the stage of autonomy versus shepherd doubt. So autonomy is whereby we allow the child freedom to explore whatever is around them. And this is now what is making the difference between somebody who will make it in life like my brother here, or somebody who have very low self-esteem, and because we begin by telling them, don't touch this, don't do this, don't try this. And so that harshness, because again, we are not very calm. The child want to put a finger on an electric shock. They want to put on the TV. They want they are trying to
be all over the place.
All right.
We now lambast them, we rebuke them, we abuse them, tell them don't do this, don't do this. And remember, their mind is like a blank slate. It requires a lot of lightings at that particular moment. They need to discover, they need to now make their world very practical.
They need to explore outside there.
Now discourage it. That is now the beginning of the killing of the dreams. And that ministry of don'ts is so much ingrained to an extent that now most of the children now, because of the intimidation, they end up now digressing and they fearing the parents. Now that fear now has started with the parents. The next moment they go to school. There's a school rules and regulations again that are again now hammered on them. So, and remember, after you pass through the hands of the parents and the teachers, now we have a gift to give to the world of a human being who is courageous, or somebody who is suffering from shame and doubts, and somebody with very low self-esteem. So whatever work we do, whatever role we play as parents in building or destroying this child, then we hand over this child again to the teacher, determine whether we are going to accomplish our dreams, like this wonderful book that our brothers did here, or we end up taking the genius now to the cemetery. So we have to be very, 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 very keen on how we do the parenting, because there are those many voices. Actually, the geniuses are killed by these voices that begin with the significant others, with our parents, with the caretakers that are taking care of us, and even our relatives and their friends, because all of them, they have got one major voice. Of don't do this, don't touch this, you are from this family background, therefore you cannot make it, you are an accident, we don't know why when you are here, you are useless, you are hopeless. Those voices kill the genius in us. Actually, I agree, all of us were genius, but now
born geniuses, but
actually there are many times that people are told you are useless, you are a useless boy.
So to become now useful, there is what to become now useful. You have to rise above the storm by having something we are calling now self-efficacy. And believe in yourself that you can really make it. And self-efficacy has to be now a resolve again we make in our hearts. We have to purpose in our hearts that I am not all this.
Wow.
We have to change now the language.
Wow.
Yes.
Regardless of failure.
Regardless of failure, we have to change the language because it doesn't matter your past, it doesn't matter your present, your future is still spotless.
And now that brings in the whole question of self-care.
Yes.
And when it comes to dealing with expectations, especially as a youth, you know, we're in this very sensitive area in our life. It might not be as sensitive to the people who are our parents, who are ahead of us, and the young ones who are behind us. But as the youth, you find that that's their place where they define their lives.
Correct.
You pick your career, you start a family.
Yes.
Now, how do you best deal with expectations? You know, they say that expectations is the mother of disappointments.
Wow.
How do we deal with expectations, and especially failed expectations?
Yeah. I want to say three things.
Yes.
One is going back to the mentors. Mentors, you can have so many of them. This one is family, mentoring you in terms of family.
You can categorize.
This is business, this is this is career.
For
you don't
different
need to have
aspects of
one
your life.
who knows everything.
Yeah.
That's not true. The other thing is, as he said, sometimes I say, based on those negatives that you had, if you listen to your voice, I usually say 3 things will never disappoint you. And I like saying, I don't know whether those 3 things are one and the same thing. One is your intuition, your conscience, and your heart. You should keep listening to what they tell you. Anything else that somebody else tells you can do it is zero.
Secondary.
Just listen to that and pursue it. Now, listen to people's advice. This one I was taught. Listen to their advice, but don't necessarily let them choose for you.
Yeah, let them advise you.
Yes,
don't let
people
them
have advised
for you.
me, do this, but by the end of the day, I listen to what my heart says. Is that right? If it's right, I follow it. Else, I don't follow it. Now, if you choose to be a people pleaser, one of the greatest causes of failure in life
Pleasing
is people please people. Now, I want to do it for the sake of my mom. I've seen people pursuing degrees in the university, which they were not meant for. And then they take that degree paper there, then they say, now let me pursue what I wanted to do. You see?
Isn't that wastage?
It's wastage, but you see, because my parent wanted to be a doctor,
pushed you to it.
And now he didn't become, so I've got to be the doctor I wanted to become.
To become my father's dream.
So one of the things, like I was advised several courses to do, I didn't do any of them. But I told them, I've failed them. You know, our time it was a JAB, Joint Admission Board. So you will do what they finally admit you to do. So I didn't fail all those things. I just failed mine. And they called me for mine and I did it. So one thing is, don't be a people's pleaser. If you expect to meet people's expectations, unless they are your customers in your business. If they are your customers, please
customer
amaze
is always
them.
right.
But if they are not your customers,
even parents.
No, it doesn't matter. Parents have their own life. You have your own life. Now, this is me. If it's going to make you have a conflict between you and your parent, it's my advice to you.
Quote him.
Let me tell you. You can quote me. Yeah, just quote me. I agree. You are allowed. Many people live a life that is not fulfilled because they are following dreams that were not theirs.
Wow.
You see, your parent is not in your heart to know what you are meant to be. Maybe you are meant to be a footballer. You see, But then I've had, like in Kenya, many artists get disappointed by the parents because parents don't want them to be. What will I tell my people that you are? No,
you're a
go do
musician.
this, yeah? They want you to do their own causes. But let me tell you, you can be great in any field. But you've got to be in the right field. A maize plant cannot grow where rice should grow. And God, who created you, He kept you suited for that particular purpose for which you were created. So this idea of trying to please other people and living their own lives, you'll never be satisfied. You'll always be depressed. You'll be earning, even if you are earning tons of money, you'll not be happy. So you better choose what you want to become and listen to your heart. Another thing I wanted to say, just as you close, as I close before you ask the question, is you had asked. It was also about mentors. I've always listed something. Also, it's in my book. The strategy of solving problems. One is ask yourself, what can I do about it? Yes, you'll realize that if you listen to yourself and start thinking of what you can do as an individual, you may come up with certain ideas. Now, let's assume you fail to come up with what you can do. You need to ask, what can I read? Now, notice you can have a mentor in form of a book. I've learned from many people all over the world. I've never met them. I've never shaken their hands. You see,
but they're your mentors.
Yes, they've been my mentors. I learn a lot from them because I listen to what they say, I follow what they say, I read their books. Most of us don't want to read. We only read if it is a newspaper and it's bad exams. News. And you see, we only read it if it is bad news. Beyond academics, if it is not exams, we don't read. That's a big disaster. Now, the other thing is, whom can I ask? Usually that is my last option. Whom can I ask? I've tried to read. I've tried to think what I can do. I didn't get it. I've tried to read. I didn't get it. So whom can I ask?
All right.
When I go to the person to ask.
Okay. Now we are about to wind up,
Yes.
and I'd like just to get final comments. You've been talking about this book, in my book, and maybe Jane, we would mention you are an author of a book, Live Your Dream, in 7 Ds. And this is the book that he has authored by Otieno Paul-Peter, Achieving the Life You Desire One Step at a Time. And there's something that I was reading here. You said another great teacher, T. Harv Eker, put it this way, and I put in quotes, no ifs, no buts, no maybes, no quitting is not an option. For this reason,
Yes.
and quitting is not an option. Yeah. For this reason, many poor or average people find it difficult to live with or relate with successful people. Now, I would like to ask you this question based on this, that average people or poor people find it difficult to live with or relate with successful people. Now, how can you, who is of that level, or you may consider yourself poor, some say that being poor is a state of mind, I don't know. But how can you be able to achieve your dreams and your desire, be successful, if at all at some point you find it difficult to relate with these people whom you consider to be successful, and at the same point, there is no way that you can be able to relate with them?
Good question. Now, one is you can relate with them. So if you choose not to relate with them, then it means you're not interested.
Wow.
You're not going to succeed. Why? Where will you learn? You see? And one of the ways of relating with them is reading their books. Reading their books. I was negative about reading books, by the way. Reading books that were not scientific. My orientation was more of philosophy and science. Now, at one point, I had a problem, a big problem. I was unable to sell. So I did not know how to sell. So, and I was running a business. So my business was doing poorly. I attended a talk. And somebody said, you cannot have the same problem year in, year out, every other time. Why not read something about it? Why not go research about it? Then I remembered, by the way, I'm a scientist. I can research, I can read. What is the problem? Then I started reading, picked one book, read, picked another one, read, started practicing. And then I realized, you must first choose. Well, it starts by understanding your situation, understanding your problem.
And accepting
solving
it.
a problem, you've got to be able to first identify that problem and accept it as it is. Then start choosing now. I want to solve this problem. In this case, I am the problem. Yeah, I realized I am the problem. My problem is ignorance. My problem is stupidity. I don't know how to sell this thing. So I've got to learn it. I realized you can do anything if you choose to, if it's in your heart. Why? No ifs, no buts, no maybes. And quitting is not an option.
Quitting
if you
is
know
never an
this is
option.
the direction I want to go.
All right. I think on that note, we just want to get you a parting shot. Pastor, as we know, we are short on time. On the whole question of, youth finding mentors, how to approach them, and the importance of mentors.
Yeah, thank you, Jane. My parting shot is that the world is a universe of its own, and in the universe, there is what to choose from the big universe. So we have to purpose in our hearts the kind of mentors we want to choose by answering, first of all, the questions. We must always ask ourselves where we have been, where we are, and where we want to be. So if we can be able to answer those 3 questions, then looking now at the people who can be able to help us to move from where we have been and from where we are to where we'd like to be. That would be very important. And that now is tied up again on the goals. So for the youth, they must come up with a way of setting up now goals. And we say that the goals are not engraved on a rock, they can be changed. So these goals, they have you have to purpose to come up with the goals that are going to assist you to move from your current scenario to your preferred scenario. And also allow me to say that at least the mentors can be even a book. Like personally, I've really emulated the late Dr. Miles Monroe. Through his inspirational talks, through his inspirational books. I've read 7 of them and have an archive of them. They have inspired so much. And they are built for me a platform whereby I can be leveraging myself. Then finally, as we go to the new year, let us be able to also to be ourselves, because if we live to please other people, we end up now killing our dreams, killing our visions and our ambitions in life. So we have to be ourselves. We have to remember that people are in sizes, but life is in phases. Live your size, enjoy your size, and be yourself.
I like that. I like that.
People are in sizes, but life is in
Phases. Yes. Your parting shot.
You can be what you want to be. The first thing is know what you want. And then, as you said, what can I do about it? Find something you can do and make progress. One thing I know for sure, if you set a goal that you believe in, you can manage it. Just live your dream, because you can do it.
All right.
That is Otieno Peter Paul, an author, a corporate trainer, a speaker, and a team building facilitator. Thank you very much for coming. And I appreciate you also, Pastor, that is Pastor Julius, all right, that is Pastor Julius, who is also Julius Gitare, who is a counseling psychologist, a mentor, and a tent maker. And we will define also a tent maker. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you. It has been all about mentorship, ensuring that you start your year on the right note, knowing the right things to do, and finding the right people to relate with. Engage with us on our social media platforms. The hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter, at Jane Wambui, and at Ram Aguko. Jane?
I think you said it all. We want to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with another interview. Now, this one is in regards to finances, now that we are jumping into a new year. So keep it here to catch up with all that and much more. We'll be right back after this break.